Hello everyone, so I have finally got what could be my dream electric bike controller. So this has got open source software, regenerative braking, sinewave, field oriented control. It's got it all pretty much. So what I'm going to do before I give more information on this is just compare it to like a standard controller which doesn't have things like field weakening. So this is the original controller of my electric bike. It's a 6 FET controller, and I've replaced the MOSFETs in it with the IRFB 4110 MOSFETs, which are that's a common mod that people do to get even more power out of it, and it limits to 23 amps. So let's give this a try and see how fast it goes. So I'll just spin it up, let you see what it sounds like, and then I'll just go over to this controller, and you'll see the difference that FOC gives you in regards to the top speed. So this is this one. Doesn't really sound sine wave. So that's how fast that can go. We'll just connect up the other one. And that's how fast the new one can drive it. So yes, considerably faster. So that's used something called field weakening. I don't fully understand myself how it works, but somehow it's actually able to drive the motor faster than like the battery voltage could drive it, just like through a normal controller. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a very useful feature. So moving on to a controller, what you need to do to it is solder pin headers onto the programming port, and you need an ST-Link V2 programmer, and you then have to connect that up to the controller whenever you want to program it, and then that means you could edit the software, make your own improvements, and just flash it over whenever you want. But luckily it comes with this configuration software, and basically all that does is it just lets you set it up for your own motor. Now I've had to mess about with this for hours to actually get it to work, but these are the settings that I've used. And once you've got it all set up, you just, through trial and error, you just click on right configuration, and it just basically compiles the whole thing and then flashes the software over the controller. And you've just basically got to play about with it. Like motor specific angle, you need to play about with that until your motor consumes as little current as possible under no load. Well, what's interesting about the regen feature on this, supposedly by soldering the signal wire of a throttle to pad X4 on this, you're able to get variable regen, but I've not been able to get that to work at all, no matter what settings I use. I've noticed that it seems to be regenerating all the time. So this motor's very hard to turn. Now, if you look at this, when I turn the motor, the current goes down. So it's like I'm only able really to turn this hard enough with my hand just to be able to power the controller itself. But I measured it with a multimeter and it was regenerating back into the battery just with me turning it by my hand. So what this suggests is when you lift off the throttle, it's just going to regenerate just like the BMW i3 or any electric car. And you can even set what regeneration current you want as well. Regen current max -150, that actually means 15 amps. Battery current max 15, 150, but that means 15. So there's tutorials that the guy who maintains this, Stanscoke is the name he goes by on Endless Sphere. There's all the stuff there that you need. But if you do find that you're struggling with it, I could maybe post a more detailed video on exactly how to set everything up. But the main thing is you get your hands on an SVP version of the KT controller, and then you can have this software as well. Another thing that I'm a bit confused about is why nearly all these controllers have a big massive resistor in them that gets hot. I haven't figured that one out yet. That's possibly just a cheap and reliable way of dropping the voltage to the voltage regulators. I'd choose that over switch mode converter, simply because switch mode converters are probably more likely to fail, and when they do fail they just let full voltage through to whatever you're powering typically. But I will put a DC converter in there just for powering lights and stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited to get this on my bike, but I'm not able to until more parts arrive. The bike's actually through here, and the motor is in bits just now because I'm adding hall sensors to it. That's the motor in there, and luckily that's actually got slots in it for hall sensors, but they just weren't used, so that should be an excellent motor to put on the bike. And I've also soldered the clutch so I can get regenerative braking. So yeah, there we go. We've got regenerative braking, and we've got 72 volt speeds on 44 volts. I never even thought that would ever be possible, but there you go.